Hey guys, Mr. Burns here with your video for lesson 7.1, Understanding Integers. By the end of this video, I want you to be able to compare and order integers and use integers to represent real-world situations. Numbers used to represent values less than 0 are called negative numbers. Positive numbers are numbers greater than 0. Kind of like numbers on this number line here underneath it. Two numbers are opposites if they are the same distance from 0 on a number line, but on opposite sides of 0. The opposite of 4, which is a positive number, is negative 4. The number negative 4 is read negative 4. Integers are the set of all positive whole numbers, their opposites, and 0. So again, integers are the set of all positive whole numbers, their opposites, and 0. So in example number 1, it says, find and graph the opposite of each number. So on A, they say 2, and the opposite of 2 is negative 2, and they just graph it there on the number line. For part B, it says negative 6. So like on the number line there on part B, the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6, which is written as just 6, because the integer is 6 units from 0, but on opposite sides. The absolute value of a number is the distance, that number is from 0 on the number line. The absolute value of negative 8 is written as absolute value of negative 8, with those two vertical lines and negative 8 in between. The absolute value of a number is always positive. For example, the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. Moving on. So in example number 2, it says find each absolute value. So remember that the absolute value of a number is its distance from 0. So for part A, what's the absolute value of negative 4? So what is its distance from 0? That would be 4. For B, the absolute value of positive 3 is its distance from 0, which is 3. Integers are used in everyday situations. Positive integers are associated with gains and increases. Negative integers are used when describing losses or decreases. Negative integers are also used to describe something that is below sea level, while positive integers describe something above sea level. So in example number 3, it says write an integer to represent each situation. So for part A, Death Valley, California is 282 feet below sea level. B, the stock market gained 5 points yesterday. C, Anna withdrew $15 from her savings account. So in the solutions, they set up the integers for you. They show you what those integers would how you would write those situations using integers. So for part A, Death Valley, that would be negative 282. The stock market gained, so that would be positive 5 or just plus 5 or just 5. C, Anna withdrew $15, so that would be negative. Negative $15 from her account. On a number line, the numbers get larger as they move from left to right. On the number line below, the integer is represented by the letter A is the smallest integer marked on a number line. Point E represents the largest integer marked on the number line, on this particular number line. Next page. Now, on example number 4, it says complete each statement using the less than or greater than sign. So on number lines, so for part A, B, and C, they want you to take negative 4 and compare it to 0. For part B, they want you to take negative 3 and compare it to negative 5. And then for part C, they want you to take negative 6 and compare it to 7. So remember, from left to right, you're going from smallest to largest. Also remember your comparison signs. You guys probably covered this earlier on in the year, comparison signs. So remember, you guys read that. So this symbol is less than, this symbol is greater than. Just remember that the mouth of the hungry alligator always wants to eat the larger number, and or the arrow is always pointing at the smaller number. So for part A, they do it on a number line there. So you got -4 and 0. Okay, so going from left to right, that's smallest. So in this case, since -4 is to the left of 0, okay, on the number line, -4 is less than 0. For part B, since -3 is to the right of -5 on the number line, -3 would be greater than -5. In other words, -3 is closer to 0 than -5 is. And then on C, because -6 is to the left of 7 on the number line, that would make -6 less than 7, okay, on your number line. And we're going to go over a bunch of examples here in just a minute. On example 5, it says the 5 states with the lowest temperatures on record are shown in the table below. List and graph the temperatures on a number line from least to greatest. So right there we got record low temperatures on the left. You've got Prospect Creek, Alaska, Peters Sink, Utah, Maybell, Colorado, Rogers Pass, Montana, and Riverside, Wyoming, along with their corresponding lowest temperatures, which would be -80, -69, -61, -70, and -66 degrees Fahrenheit. The solution says when the temperatures are graphed on the number line, the lowest temperature will be furthest to the left. The highest temperature will be furthest to the right, or closer to 0. So when they're listed from least to greatest, okay, so -80 is the farthest away from 0, so it is the lowest temperature. Whereas out of the 5 temperatures, -61 is closest to 0, so therefore it is the greatest temperature. All right, so hopefully that makes some sense to you, but we're going to dive right into it here in just a second. So moving on to the tiered lesson. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so for numbers 1 through 4, they want us to find the opposite of each number. So number 1, what's the opposite of +6? That would be -6. What's the opposite of -3? +3. Or just the number 3. What's the opposite of 3? For number 3, what's the opposite of 7? That's -7. On number 4, it says graph 3 and its opposite on the number line. So from 0, I'm going to go 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. So that's +3. And then its opposite, which is -3. So from 0, I'm going to go to the left 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. So -3. Okay, let's talk about this number line real quick. So the farther I go to the right, that's in a positive direction. If I go to the left, that's in a negative direction. Okay, so here we go with number 5. On number 5, it says graph the following integers on the number line. So the first number they ask us is -8. So from 0, I'm going to go 8 spots to the left, which is right here. Then we've got -5. That's already indicated for us, kind of easy. And then we've got 0, which is right there. And last but definitely not least, we've got 4. So 4 to the right, so in a positive direction. So here we go on number 6. On number 6, it says, which of the following are integers? Circle your answers. So remember that an integer is all whole numbers, okay, and their opposites. So all whole numbers and their opposites. It doesn't include fractions or decimals. So integers would include numbers like the number 1, -2. Wouldn't be -3 and a fourth because that's not an integer. -3 is an integer. 2.9, no, because that's a decimal. And -9. Okay, that would be an integer. All right, number 7 through 9. On number 7 through 9, it's just find the absolute value, okay, of each of these numbers. Remember, absolute value is the number's distance. Yes, I want you to write this down. Distance from 0. And they're always positive answers. Okay, so what is the absolute value of -9? That's 9. What's the absolute value of 7? 7. What is the absolute value of -1? 1. Numbers 10 through 12. On numbers 10 through 12, it says write an integer to represent each situation. So number 10, a diver dove 92 feet under the surface of the ocean. That would be negative 92 because he went under the ocean. Number 11, Jack climbed up 200 stairs. So if he climbed up, that would be a positive. Okay, so positive 200 with the symbol or just 200. Either one of those works. Nina owes her sister 18 bucks. If you owe somebody money, that's a negative thing for you. Okay, moving on to the next page. On number 13, it says name the integer represented by each point. So here we are on our number line, and let's look at A. So A, so from 0, it is 2 spots to the right, so it's positive 2. B is to the left of 0, 1 spot, so it's negative 1. C is 1, 2, 3, 4 spots to the left, so it is negative 4. And D, okay, is 5, 6 spots to the right of 0, so it is positive 6. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. For number 14, it says graph negative 1 and negative 3 on the number line. So let's do that. So from 0, I'm going to go 1 spot to the left, that's negative 1. And then I'm going to go 3 spots to the left to negative 3. So it says which number is bigger or farther to the right on the number line. I always like to think of it as which one of these numbers is closest to 0. That would be negative 1. So therefore, it is larger than negative 3. So negative 1 is greater than negative 3. Okay. All right. Numbers 15 through 17. It says complete each statement with a less than or greater than sign. So for number 15, we've got 3 and negative 2. Okay. So 3 is positive and it's farther to the right from 0. Okay, negative 2 is to the left 2 spots. So which one of these is greater? Positive 3. So positive 3 is greater than negative 2. For number 16, you've got negative 7 and negative 4. I always like to think which number is closer to 0. So negative 4 is closer to 0 on the number line, so therefore it is greater, okay, than negative 7. Now on 17, you've got 0, and they want you to compare that to negative 5. So negative 5 is to the left of 0, so therefore 0 is greater than negative 5. Okay. For 18 through 20, they want you to order it from least to greatest, so smallest to largest. Draw yourself a number line. It's a good visual. There's 0. This is a positive. That's going in a positive direction to the right, and to the left is the negative direction. Okay. So here we go from 18. So we've got all positive numbers. So out of those 4 positive numbers, which one, okay, is the smallest? That would be 0. And we're going to the right. After 0, we would have 1, and then 5, and the biggest number out of these 4 would be 7. For number 19, we've got 6, negative 1, negative 3, and 4. So again, looking at your number line, which one of these 4 numbers is the smallest or farthest to the left of 0? That would be negative 3. Out of the negative numbers, which one is closest to 0? That would be negative 1. After that, 4 and 6, which one is my smallest? That would be 4. And 6 is my greatest number. Now on number 20, you've got negative 1, negative 8, negative 4, and 0. So out of those 4 numbers, which one is farthest to the left of 0? That would be negative 8. So it is the smallest number. After that, you'd have negative 4, which is the next smallest. Then you've got negative 1, and then you've got 0 from least to greatest. Okay, so use your number line as a model. Use your number line as something to help you guys visualize where these numbers lie on the number line. Okay, that's all I got. If you need any help, you know what to do. Mr. Burns, out.